Hi, my name's Chelle Rosco and I'm a Crime Prevention Health Promotion Officer in Australia. Join me on a journey to Iquique in Chile to discover an approach to social work that comes from the heart. We'll meet with youth workers, educators, therapists and witness at first hand the healing power of love in action. Iquique, in the north of Chile, is a city with extreme social welfare issues. Located about 1.5 hours from the Bolivian border and 5 hours from the Peruvian border, the city has a high population of illegal immigrants, many living in little more than a cardboard box. Entire communities are suffering from poverty, drug abuse, prostitution, homelessness, sexual abuse, family breakdown and exploitation by employers. Providing care and support to the disadvantaged in Iquique is an enormous challenge, one that in Australia would demand extensive resources and funds. In Chile, however, workers have very few resources at their disposal. Their greatest resource is love. Negra que te quiero, goza, negra presuntuosa, mira, que me estoy muriendo, dame vida de tu boca, boca, que me está pisando los talones de la libertad. Será tal vez la esperanza o el cariño adormecido. Yo sabré reír, yo sabré llorar, yo sabré entregarte. To learn more about the issues in Iquique, we spoke to senior social worker and manager Ricardo Tremfo, who supervises programs and staff for families who are at risk in the Iquique area.
Siento que el Estado, si bien está centralizado...
Illegal immigrants come from Peru and Bolivia and walk into Iquique, a close city to the borderline, and set up their homes by hand. Their homes are basic shelters with poor ventilation, no walls or floors, and have no power or running water. Legal immigrants in Chile also live this way due to no income. In general, the police do not harass the illegal immigrants too much, as the number of these people is so high. However, some do get deported. The illegal immigrants cannot access resources in Chile, such as school, medication, health checkups or legal employment. The children are not vaccinated, and because they cannot access school, they beg with their families to try and sell handmade crafts on the streets. Families suffer from poor health and often turn to the use of drugs, such as pasta basi, a drug that is basically the dregs of the manufacture of cocaine. The other option is prostitution.
Ricardo explains how unreasonable working conditions for immigrants and the absence of childcare alternatives for working mothers lead to family dysfunction.
Families have to make money to live. Women who are mothers often work as nannies or maids, and the average income is $390 a month for this type of work. However, illegal immigrants without papers also work as nannies, and they only get $180 a month. That's $45 a week. To be employed as a nanny or maid, you must be available to work 7 days a week and often up to 10 to 12 hours a day. This type of work for mothers creates dysfunction in the family, as there is no one often to nurture their own children. Their children are unsupervised, and those who are legally entitled to do not always access school. Older siblings often have to take on a parental role. Illegal immigrant children cannot access school at all and are left up to their own devices, the main devices being the use of pasta bussy, which can be accessed often for little money or stealing. Young girls and boys prostitute. As for infants in the family, they are left without care for most of the day.
Ricardo informs us that some illegal immigrants have no choice but to leave their infants alone in the hills, wrapped tightly in cloth while they are working. This is a real risk as the city of Iquique experiences regular earth tremors, and the rock walls where the infants are stored are highly unstable.
Don't worry, my friend. You know you gotta keep coping. You know when one door closes, there's gonna be another one open. Keep your head held high on good things, your mindset. You know, a journey of 1,000 miles. You know it starts with only one step.
This is Zofri, one of the most dangerous and out-of-control suburbs in Iquique. Here, prostitution and drug dependence are rife. Drug dealers fiercely guard their territory, and the threat of violence is ever present. The police rarely enter this area, which has been taken by the people without government or council approval. Many of the homes are built from blankets and cardboard, and the better homes are owned by drug dealers. The children of Zofri are not encouraged to go to school by their families or the authorities due to their rebellious reputation. However, a courageous group of people have chosen to work within Zofri to reach these children.
La población es muy vulnerable. No tiene fortaleza, no tiene nada que lo defienda.
Orlando runs a shelter on the edge of the Zofri estate for young people aged 8 to 17 years. The shelter is open from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Friday and Saturday throughout the day. It's a place where young people can meet and experience a sense of community. Orlando informs us that no one in this area cares for their children who visit the shelter. Their parents are focused on prostitution and drugs, and it is very difficult to prevent these children from going the same way. These young people are repressed, discriminated against, and lack love. Orlando's primary focus is to help the children of Zofri break the cycle of abuse and dysfunction. He, along with 2 nuns who work with him, provide the children with a healthy meal every evening and offer them positive entertainment. Orlando and his shelter are at risk of times from gangs. However, Orlando loves and believes in his work too much to be deterred.
Said I gotta show a bet. You gotta learn to forgive and forget. Said I gotta do for you. Do unto others as you have them do to
Mary Helps is a community program devoted to young girls who have suffered from abandonment and physical and sexual abuse. What these young girls need most is love, and that is what they receive from the dedicated and qualified staff.
Mary Helps is a program for young girls aged 4 to 18 years who have been sexually and physically abused and abandoned by their families. The girls have been removed by a judge from their family and sent to us. Mary Helps is funded by the Catholic Church and supported by government funds. The goal of the organisation is to create a new family culture for the girls within their new home, activate professional and medical support, rehabilitate the personalities, and if possible and appropriate, activate family links with the young girls. There are 2 homes in Iquique for these girls, one for young girls aged between 5 and 12 years, and another for girls aged between 13 and 18 years, and they can stay within this home for 3 years. The girls come direct from the courts and physical testing and have been through a long process. They arrive exhausted and need quiet time. The girls do not believe in love and trust, so the workers do not push discussion and issue there. On average, the girls are in quiet time for a maximum of 6 months. The girls suffer from anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorders, depression, self-mutilation, bulimia, anorexia, incontinence, and gynecological problems. They have low self-esteem and trust and abandonment issues.
The mother and aunties employed in this program sing and hug and rock the girls constantly to make them feel protected, and if need be, will sleep in their bed all night to comfort them. Often, early hours in the morning, girls wake up after bad dreams, and it is then the workers learn of their traumas. The staff often work long hours without breaks. Kati informed us when we met with her that she had not been home for a whole week due to the needs of a young girl. From board members to workers and volunteers, the Mary Helps program shines love from all working with the precious young girls. George is the director and father of the shelter for young boys who are at risk within their family home, often due to poverty. Their families suffer drug addictions, mental health problems and isolation. The boys live in the shelter 5 days a week and return to their families on weekends. The boys can live here within the shelter until they're 18 years of age and must stay a minimum of 3 years. The main focus of the shelter is to keep families connected, to re-educate children's behaviour and to teach the young boys structure and respect. George lives within the home, and has dedicated his life to this work. There is also a girls' home run like the boys' home. At the moment, 20 young girls are accessing this program in Iquique. Some of them are the children of Bolivian and Peruvian immigrants. The parents are focused on survival through working long hours, leaving their children no option of real care. The young girls living in this shelter benefit from having 2 families and 2 homes, both of which contribute to setting their foundation for the future. Nicole, an expat from Germany, is the coordinator of the Child Infant School. The school caters for children aged 3 months to 5 years from both poor and financial families. There is no government support in accessing childcare in Chile. Nicole explains that the more financial families fund the care of these children, with additional support from the Catholic Foundation and funds raised in Germany by Nicole's own family and friends. There are 8 workers in total facilitating this program. Some speak of suffering depression when faced with the tragic living conditions of many of the children. The immigrant children have had no vaccinations due to their immigrant status. These children often attend the centre unbathed and dirty, as there is no running water or power at their home. Some of the children's parents struggle with drug addictions and sole parenting. If it were not for this program, many of the less fortunate children would be left within their home unsafe and or unaccompanied. Thanks to the loving work of Nicole and the support of the more financial families, these children have been given the opportunity to experience a safe environment and receive nutritious meals daily. Here they find acceptance and learn what it is to belong. Boys of the Street Foundation is an organisation working with young males aged 15 to 19 years in the area of harm minimisation. The service is made up of a number of workers, which include a clinical psychologist, a sociologist and 3 social workers. The aim of the program is to work with young people who have a drug addiction to pasta basi and are homeless. The Boys of the Street Foundation provides health services which include hospital detoxification, rehabilitation, advocacy, food and education to young males.
We are both street workers, which involves walking the streets daily in the Zofri area and building rapport with the young males who are obviously addicted to pasta basi and are homeless. Many of the boys we target prostitute themselves to gain income to buy pasta basi, which costs about $5 for a teaspoon.
Pasta basi is a stimulant and is the base of cocaine, which is mixed with gasoline, acid, kerosene and other leads and metals. When one takes pasta basi, they gain a feeling of euphoria and have hallucinations. They feel drowsy and sleepy. Pasta basi is smoked through a pipe, and the effects can include cardiovascular damage, lung damage, heart palpitations, aggression, a decrease in appetite, paranoia. It can create vomiting, twitches, shortness of breath and anxiety. Basically, it kills brain cells.
Due to security issues, when we are walking the streets looking for young men who are dependent on pasta basi, we are limited to where we walk and stay on the edge of the areas where the drugs are sold, as our lives would be put at risk and we would be beaten, if not killed, by the suppliers of the drugs, as we are viewed as a negative impact on their sales. For 4 hours a day, we walk the streets, always in the morning when a lot of people are still asleep. We give out rolls of bread to people who are hungry and often see the aftermath of the night before, where there have been parties or fights. Young men as young as 14 years are dependent on pasta basi. Both male and females of all ages consume the drug as it is cheap and easy to access. They smoke it to escape poverty, boredom, and to suppress appetite. Our job is to select those young males who are homeless and dependent on drugs and invite them back to our service. 5 days a week at our workplace, we offer a hot lunch. Young men are invited to join our service and access food and recreation. More importantly, we can organise detoxification at the hospital and also help them find a safe place and link them back into education. We care for the boys and we are there for them when they need us. Often we give up our personal time to be made available for them. We try to create a family feel for the boys, sharing lunch together, celebrating birthdays and mourning issues they are faced with.
Carolina and Lorena work intensively with the young males in attempting to break their cycles by offering access to medical detoxification, rehabilitation and education programs. I'm informed that the use of the drug pasta basi is so readily accessible that when the young men have successfully completed detoxification, relapse to pasta basi use is common. It is very important that we work intensively with the males to discourage drug use. This involves creating the feeling of being in a family by the close relationship the staff offer to the clients, which includes a lot of volunteered time outside of work hours and on weekends, in hope to achieve change. The Sisters of Mercy facilitate an AIDS support project in Iquique for men and women. Iquique is the largest area in Chile with a HIV/AIDS epidemic. 90% of the patients are homosexual or bisexual due to the fact that condoms are expensive and hard to access. Sister Tamara works daily within the program, supporting very sick people with their needs. A male we met who had been homeless and diagnosed with HIV spoke of how supportive the program is.
I have 2 children who do not have HIV. I am not sure if their mother has. I do not know where they are and I would love to see them. My family, I have none. Except for my 2 children, my family is here in this house. I have been here for 8 weeks and I have put on 20 kgs. My face looks healthy and I feel stronger and better. I did not know much about faith before coming here. Now I do. I've started reading the Bible. I am dying, I am sick, but I am able to cope. This is a very special place.
Recreational activities such as arts and craft and cooking are run weekly. Singing, praise and church is optional. Most of the patients do attend church and find faith and comfort. The house is also known as the House of Miracles, due to miracles that have happened through lives being saved. The programs here in Iquique, Chile are just like programs in Australia. The staff all have university degrees and are required to basically work under the same framework as we do in Australia, be it you're a social worker, a psychologist, a sociologist, a youth worker. The one interesting thing that I found is the workers work here often without pay due to the lack of funds, but they continue working. And interestingly enough, the biggest point that I found just observing here in Iquique, the workers that we've worked with and the programs that we've looked at, workers have informed me that they actually work with a professional level of love for their clients. They work from their heart. They professionally work with love to help clients. And the love is showed in a caring way, a professional manner. and that's where they're actually on call 24/7 to be committed to some change, leading to a measure of outcomes that is really seeable and feasible. So the difference between Australian work and Chilean work is that the workers within the industry of working with humans has been that there's been a massive influence put on love, working from the heart, using the head.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's much too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's much too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone.